Hello and welcome back to Craven Outdoors. Today we're out here doing a little kayak fishing. We're a little watershed lake here in Borden, Indiana. So we'll go out here and see if we can't catch a few bass. Had some rain last night, some real heavy rain. We're gonna try start off with a floating worm this morning and see if we can't get a few bass to bite. So stay tuned. You're watching Craven Outdoors. What we're going to start here with, it's a K&E bass stopper worm. It's a pre-rigged worm. It's already got the hooks in it, but it's like a purple color with a white stripe on the back. I got it rigged weedless. We're just gonna throw up in here, see if we can't get a fish to bite. So you just throw this out there and let it sink real slow. Kind of twitch it a little bit. These floating worms are really good lures for lakes like this. They work good around grass too. So. Oh, I had something hit it. You just kind of twitch it. I kind of like when I fish this thing, I kind of flutter my wrist a little bit and get that worm shaking a little bit, and sometimes it triggers a strike. Yeah, we had a lot of heavy rain here last night, so I'm not for sure what it's going to do to the bite this morning. Water's still really clear though, so it did muddy it up or murky it up. So I'm not sure what the water temp is, but I'm sure it's probably in the mid to high 60s right now. Yeah, these kayaks are really nice for places like this, places that you can get boats into, and you know, you can pretty much just go about anywhere you want to with a kayak. It didn't take very long. I already got one. And he thumped that pretty hard too. And these little worms are pretty cool. They work good. Nice bass to start the day with. Nice little bass. Yeah, I threw that worm right back around that bank there, and I started fluttering more, and then my line just went thump. So another one. Very next cast. Might be a bed up there. Oh, I have to get my hands wet on that one. All right, 2 fish in 2 minutes. I'll have to look around for some beds here today. I'm not for sure if they're spawning yet, but all the lakes I fished so far have been murky and I can't see any beds. This lake really clear, so you ought to be able to see some today if they're spawning. Yeah, these little floating worms are really good lures to catch bass. I've caught a lot of big fish on these things too. But you catch a lot of bass on them. I've caught a lot of bluegill on them, big red ear on them and stuff. They work really good. I think there'd be one right up in there where that little drain comes in. Places like this, like that little cut right there, and there's a little ravine right here. There's no water running into them now, but in the springtime when there's water, if there's water trickling into them spots, that's usually a good spot to fish too, because fish like getting around that kind of stuff. But this one doesn't have any water running into it. Anytime you hear running water coming into a lake, throw your lure over their back where it comes in, because usually you'll catch one. There was another little cove right on the other side of this little hill I wanted to go up into, but there was Canadian geese in there. She was laying on eggs, and she didn't like me coming up in there, so I left her alone. It's like, I won't go up in there and disturb her. And she was getting mad. I was like, I'll leave you alone so you can lay on your eggs. Oh, that felt like a bluegill though. Another one. Look at that point right there. Bad little bass. So fish. Yeah, fish love points. Always fish the points, especially if the wind's blowing right into them. That's a good time to be fishing them. It's really quiet out here this morning. It's nice. Leaves are blooming out. Good time to go fishing. Fish are biting. It's fun catching these fish on this spinning pole, flimsy rod. You come off that point up there. Yeah, it's got to be carp jumping out there. There's some big fish jumping out there. Just kind of flutter that little worm just slightly. Gets that worm jumping in the water there. The fish will nail it every time. Got one. Come off that point over there. We're liking this little worm this morning. You can still buy these. I'm not for sure where. I used to pick all mine up at a little grocery store by Deems Lake, but it closed. I bought a bunch of them from them. They work really good. The only bad thing about these worms is sometimes you can catch 10 to 15 bass, 20 bass on them with one worm, and I've seen it before where you catch one fish and the fish destroys the worm, and first fish you catch on it destroys it. So these things are not very cheap either. They're like a little over, I think the last time I bought one, I just want to say they were over $2 a worm. Another worm I like using, like a floating worm I use, and they're made locally in Indiana. They're Touchdown. Makes a good floating worm. I use those a lot, like on little lakes like this and stuff. This lake gets a little bit of moss in it, but not too much. So there's one. Better fish there. There's a little better bass there. Yeah, getting bigger. Nice fish. What I'm doing is I'm paralleling the drop off right here. It comes off shallow and starts to gradually go down into the deep water. So I'm just kind of just throwing that worm down there, just right where it starts to drop off. That's where I'm getting my bites at. These kayaks are nice too because you don't have the trolling motor, you know, the backwash and stuff, you know, spooking the lake, and then you got a little silhouette to the water and the fish can't really see you. Like if you're sitting up in a boat or something. There's another one. That brake line there looks good. Buddy. Nice one there. Water feels, the fish are cool feeling. The water might be as warm as I think it is. Fish felt cool when I touched him. Eventually I'd like to get a fish finder on this thing. I got the mounts right here for him. Now I could just run a little battery up in the nose of this thing. I would like to eventually get a little fish finder for it. I like to know how deep water I'm in sometimes when I'm out here. Yeah, I like his kayak. This is my second season with it. I bought it at Dick's Sporting Goods, but it's a Pelican. It's a Pelican Pioneer. It's like the fishing kayak. But it's the sit-in kind. It's not the sit-on-top kind. I don't know. I like the sit-on-tops. I like the sit-ins too. I felt a little bit more secure in this one. Eventually, I would like to get a sit-on-top one with like the pedals and stuff like that. That'd be down the road, but I bought this one just for my first one. But yeah, I really like it. It's got the seat in it, and it's got the dry bag storage in the back. It's got the rod holder things. It's got a drink holder thing down here on the side. Snap your bottle up on the side there, and the tackle traces slide up here on the side down here. Like back in here and get out of your way here. Another one. Bass. Thinks he's a smallmouth jumping out of the lake like that. Yeah, but I do really like this kayak. I wasn't for sure how much I would like it, but I actually really like this thing because it kind of opens up the doors and more opportunities for you for fishing at places you can't, take your boat. There's one little isolated stump out there, and usually they're good. I'm gonna throw out that worm after that stump. Anytime you see an isolated stump like that sitting out in the lake like that, throw bite. Not all the time, but sometimes, most of the time, you catch fish off of it. Another one. Fish are feisty this morning, jumping out of the lake. Oh, he's pulling good. It's funny, my worm starting to get tore up a little bit. You can always tell when the hooks start pulling out of the worm when you're fighting them out. The fish wasn't getting off. He's hooked good. Nice bass. Yeah, these hooks tend to get pulled out of the worm when they start getting wore out. And this one here, it's got a few more fish left in it, I think. Yeah, that's the only bad thing about them worms. They'll last a long time on some, some of them do, but then sometimes you'll catch 2, 3, 4 fish on them, and then it just destroys them. And you gotta get a new one. Still haven't seen no beds yet. They might not be spawning yet. I was just kind of thinking they might start spawning because we've had some temps in the mid 80s. It's bringing the lake temps up really fast. So. Oh, there you go. Oh, man. Must be some, I don't know if them are bass or bluegill coming up and hitting that thing, because we're up in the shallow end of the lake, so it could be some bluegill beds up in there. I just can't see them because I'm sitting too low to the water. Oh, there's one right there. That's a bass. Nice fish. That like the frogs this time of year. Relaxing. The birds and the frogs, and makes for a peaceful day. Man, it's shallow up there. I can't see the bottom because I'm sitting too low to the water. There he is. He's pulling good. bass there. Yeah, it's real shallow back here. Yeah, the water's been up here. It looks like about a foot, and it's dropped. You can see where it was up in the bushes and stuff. There's no. Nice bass there. He come out about inches of water. I mean, it ain't even. I mean, I ain't kidding you. I'm sitting in about less than a foot of water right here. Real shallow. Off that stick up there. Oh, it's a heavy fish there. This is real. Bad bass there. Dude, up there by that stick sticking out of the water, and he drilled that thing. He inhaled that thing. Great. Get the pliers. Careful with this thing. Need to grab the lip. This is where a good pair of hemostats come into play. It was funny, he hit that thing, and it just barely even felt him, and then he inhaled it. This is weird. You'd think he would have really felt him swallow that thing. Just kind of like, I just barely felt like a tick on my lure. Another one of the Guggen's Quad. I'm just fan casting out here in the over this flat. Little bass. Caught a crappie on a jig. It's a nice crappie. Yeah. It's a real nice crappie. Yeah. And I left all my crappie stuff at the house. That's all right. It was just pretty much right under the boat when I caught that thing. I was jigging this jig, this Strike King Bitsy bug down there. If I can get another one down there. Well, I hope you enjoyed today's video out here today. Caught quite a few fish out here today. Caught a lot of them on a worm, spinnerbait. I caught a few on a jig, but I didn't show that on camera. Caught quite a few on a jerkbait today. So all in all, it was a good day out here fishing. I was out here about 4 hours. So we call you blessed, and we'll see you on the next video.